Hey everybody. There's a stop button. I'm backing up. At home. This is the bed that I slept in for 2 nights, but now I'm sleeping upstairs. Walking upstairs is easier than walking. Um, Walking downstairs is not. I've got my ring on, so that's an improvement. Um, so the big major updates. I had an MRI, which has results, but we'll do it again, and we don't know the results conclusively. I got discharged from TIR over the weekend. My parents and Claire and Bethany set up the house for me to be back here, and I met with MD Anderson, and I've well, I have a lot of things going forward that have not happened yet. So um, I'll start with the MRI. I did a brain and spine MRI, which is like 4 hours long that you have to sit like this and not move. And in that time, it reminded me of the stuff that I have forgotten, which is like um, that the majority of time you're like trying to keep your dignity intact in this process, and it's I think that is like the most undignified way to stay in this way for 4 hours, and you have to get helped by so many people that it made me thankful. There's a lot of emotions that you could feel, but I tend to feel appreciation that anybody is looking out for me when they are. So um, I'll go not true to form, false to form, and I'll say thank yous first. So thank you to Claire, who's right here, for seeing me uh, through this process, and thank you to my parents for setting up the shower and setting up the house. Thank you to my sister Bethany, who came here all the way from Austin. Thank you to Jennifer, who is watching out for Claire and me and Theo. Thank you to Becca, who spotted, who took care of Theo. And there's a lot of thank yous. Thank you to all of the food that we have received. Um, and I have a lot of thank yous. Who am I forgetting? Yeah, Lauren and Adam Oplath for both delivering food and helping out with Theo. Theo's gone back to take care, and he's been, I should have shaved. Um, he's been so good. He's not been good in daycare, but he's been good to me. I've gotten up numerous times that I wouldn't have done at tier, but it's part of getting better because of him. Um, so that's the MRI, and it either has metastasized or it has not metastasized much. So
there's a questionable spot.
Yeah, there's a questionable spot on my spine, and that disembodied voice is Claire. Meanwhile, the doctor has seen the MRI, and I'm going to get him redone at MD Anderson, and conclusively we'll know with lumbar puncture, which is this Thursday. But I discharged from TIR and I was ready to go, and and that is not said with any malice towards TIR. They're a great place, and they got me to where I am, to where I can come home and be of some use here. And I've done a lot of the things that I have because of TIR. And we said thank you to all of our nurses and nurse techs and doctors and therapists and a lot of the people who go unmentioned there. But that's an amazing place, and I'll forever be indebted to them. and I will continue in outpatient, either at Memorial City or at I don't know the name of the place, but it's at Braeswood in Kirby, and that is like outpatient stuff, and it'll be good therapies. I have since gotten a name for this thing, so right now I have double vision, and I'm not using my right eye, which has gotten a name. I think that people knew it all along, but posterior fossa syndrome is what I'm feeling, and it's like why my right side is uncoordinated and my left side is coordinated but tingly. And so posterior fossa syndrome. I can't imagine a lot of kids go through this because, as I said, the cancer that I have is pediatric, and I can't imagine that kids understand what's going on because, like, I know that I fall to my right, and that is an intellectualized thing. I would fall to my right if I had not been told that, and yeah, I can't imagine what the kids have to go through if they have this syndrome. And some portion of the population gets it, and I don't know if there's an indicative factor.
Surgery
after surgery. And in the posterior fossa, that's the back of the brain where the cerebellum is. So I've gotten discharged from this and MD Anderson. Well, this weekend, my parents set up the shower and this bed, and the medicines and stuff like that, but that'll go unmentioned. And Claire welcomed me back home, and I have eaten at all the places that people recommended that they bring food from when I was not having it. I've seen MD Anderson and Dr. DeGroot, who is the head of neuro-oncology there, and I saw like lots of nurses and doctors there, and MD Anderson has their stuff together, but it's a very big system, and I think that I can tend to, or anybody can tend to get lost in those systems. So it's very helpful to have Claire, who's navigated those waters before. Claire, why don't you come on screen and update the people about MD Anderson?
Oh gosh. I hate being on camera. I'm gonna write an update, but briefly, we met with them yesterday. Please no. I'm gonna be like half on screen.
Yeah.
And let's see. Dr. DeGroot recommends proton therapy in Adam's case because he'll have a huge area of radiation. It will go both to his brain and his entire spine, and that affects bone marrow levels, and so proton therapy has a lessened effect. So he said definitely proton therapy rather than traditional radiation. And we are glad to hear that because we've just been told that it's much better, has fewer side effects. And so Adam will get that. We're not sure when it will start. Like Adam said, he'll have another MRI and the lumbar puncture first, and he kind of has to get in line for proton therapy. But I'll have that for 6 weeks, then take a 4-week break, and then have probably 6 to 8 months of chemo.
That's a long time.
That is a long time.
6 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 to 8 months.
And there are other updates. I already drafted out a CaringBridge post that I was going to put with this video because there is a lot of information, but that might be the big picture.
So I can stand. I had a breakthrough. People say that you go through plateaus before you have a peak, and there are no valleys in rehab. And and I must have been on a plateau, but it didn't feel like it. I was never frustrated. Uh, Turning all this stuff into a game helps, but I've never been frustrated with PT. I've only been frustrated with myself, um, like not being able to do the things that I once could. But you find a fun way to like get better at them, and on Thursday last week, Wednesday of last week, I was like standing and tossing a medicine ball, and that's something. So 8 pounds, 7 pounds, standing. Meanwhile, like my depth perception is off, so it would hit me in the chest sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
so I I've gotten better in that way materially that I can see. So I'll stand before your very eyes. Bum 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 bum
Hands free.
bum 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 bum. The ways that I'm bad are in saying things that I have to say all the time. Like they ask me where I work, and I say Memorial High School.